Good morning, friend. Welcome back to Joseph's Reserves. I'm Joseph, and I save 20% of my income in the form of coins and precious metals. Today, I wanted to talk to you about the coin that started my numismatic collection. This half cent right here. It might not look special, but to me, it's one of the best ones I have. So, pull up a hot cup and let's get comfortable. I started out simply wanting to put my money into something that wasn't going to devalue. When I started, I was only looking at silver. I didn't even really start looking at gold yet. It felt way too out of reach. So copper didn't really seem like anything I was going to get into until this coin. You can see it is massively corroded, but you can read half cent. You can make out United States of America, and the closer you look, the more you'll be able to make out the date. Right here on this bottom portion, the biggest number you can see is the 0. At some angles, close to here, you can even make out the 9 next to it and the 18 before it. Luckily, in this design, 1809 was the only year that they made the coin with a 0 in that digit. So this is definitely an 1809 half cent. There are a few reasons why this coin is so special to me. For one, this was a gift. I was at a pawn shop shopping for some silver coins. I believe I actually bought a Morgan dollar and a peace dollar. And the shop owner decided to give me this coin with my purchase. This 1809 half cent sparked all kinds of questions for me. Why did the United States make a half cent? Why did they stop? How is it that this copper coin that was worth half a cent is about the size of a quarter? These questions drove all kinds of research and learning about American coinage that led me down multiple rabbit holes. So, first, let's talk about the United States coinage and why there was a need for the half cent. So the first big topic that's important in this discussion is the fact that the United States of America was the first country to actually decimalize our currency. So here we have a dollar. They wanted to divide this dollar into fractions of 10, and that's why we came up with the dime. And after that, they wanted to divide this into 10 again, and they came up with the cent. Each of these had their own half. So there was a half dollar, yes, even a half dime that was a smaller silver coin, and the half cent. There was even a $10 gold coin that had its own half, and even the quarter eagle, which is a $2.50 gold coin. So they based all of this off of units of a 10, fractions with 10 in the denominator. Now, why is that so significant? Well, other countries at the time didn't have a decimalized system. Great Britain or the UK didn't even adopt this decimalized system until 1971. So again, why was it so significant for the United States? Well, all other countries had coinage that was divided by 8 or divided by 12 or anything else that they could think of. They used these large silver coins and were actually cutting them into pieces. And for the United States, we actually colonized it. And in the colonies of America, those started around 1600, and it wasn't until the late 1700s that we started trying to have our own coins. In that time, that nearly 200-year gap, we had all kinds of different coins. Near us were Spanish colonies, German colonies, French colonies. All these different countries had their coins in our economy. So there were massive problems with different colonies accepting different exchange rates and different ways from transferring from one currency to another. So when the founding fathers actually went into trying to figure out what our standard were going to be and how we were going to be accepting all these different coins within the market, they figured that the easiest way to do it was to have a base of 10. So when the founding fathers ran into this issue, they were trying to figure out what coin should we use to represent what our dollar should be. and they decided on the 8 reales. This is a Mexican milled coin that was used in, this is a Spanish milled coin that was used in the Spanish colonies and actually all across the world. This Spanish milled dollar was used in the Asian markets all the way to through the Americas and to the other side of the Atlantic in Europe. These 8 reales were cut into 8 pieces. They would be cut in the middle, across, and then diagonally into 8 pieces, known as a bit, and it would be 1 reales. So because there were these 8 reales and they were cut into these bits, these coins were huge in the American colonies and in the early days of the United States of America. These coins were actually used in our markets all the way up to 1857. So because of that, people continue to cut these coins, but we needed a way to transfer what 1 bit was into change in American coinage. So since 1/8 of a dollar would be 12.5 cents, that is what created the need for the half cent. At that time, 1 dime, 2 large cents, and a half cent would be equal to that cut up 1 bit. So at the time, the 8 reales was the major silver coin player in early America. But what about copper? The copper coins more often were coins from Great Britain, like this halfpenny. This is a halfpenny from 1902, and you can see it is pretty similar in size to our half cent. However, it's even closer to our large cent. What's interesting is that 24 of these half pennies are what traded for a shilling, their silver coin. This is a shilling right here. 24 of these half pennies, meaning 12 pennies or 12 pence, is what would be worth 1 shilling. And what's interesting is a shilling is close to the size of a quarter. So now we end up with this ratio that is 24 half pennies to a shilling and 25 large cents to a quarter. So you can see how they are quite similar. However, this large cent, while it is close, it is significantly larger than this half penny. Why is it that our founding fathers made our copper coins so large? And really, there are lots of quotes from the founding fathers that said that they wanted copper token coinage to have intrinsic value. They wanted even the poorest of the country that couldn't afford silver coins to feel like their coins had value. They used the market value of copper and used that to price and calculate how large these copper coins would actually be. Here I have quite a few large cents, but today's video is actually about the half cent. These are the only 2 half cents that I have in my collection at the moment. These coins are quite rare and not too easy to get your hands on. The sum of all of the mintages of half cents that were made is somewhere in the ballpark of 7 million. That's right, 7 million for all of the half cents. If we were to just look at how many pennies are made per year today, between the Philadelphia and Denver Mint, it's close to 7 million. So these coins are truly rare, and to be honest, they're a little undervalued. I do believe that as the US Mint stops producing the 1 cent coins, copper coinage like this, the half cent, the large cent, even the Indian head cent, and the copper memorial cent will go up in value dramatically. While these coins are not quite valued based off of their intrinsic value, these are definitely very good investments that will go up in value as they become more and more rare. So friend, thank you for joining me on my coffee and coins talk this morning. Make sure you hit the like button, share the video to anyone that might be interested in why we have half cents, or might just be interested in hearing me talk about coins every morning. But most of all, thank you for watching.